Okay. Today's topic is about leadership. Are you a leader or follower? Think about that. Are you a leader or follower? Leader or follower? Do you lead people or do you follow a person? Are you a leader or follower? Well, the Bible says, no matter how old you are a leader. You are a leader. Because you know what? You have younger people looking at you and try to copy you. You have your friends who try to imitate your actions. So whether you know it or not, whether you realize it or not, you are a leader. Okay? You are a leader. Now, this is a burden sometimes because you know there are some people looking at you and try to follow you, and you have to do good. You have to be good so you can be a good leader. Now the question is, how can we be good leaders? Can you think about that and give me some answers here? How can you be good leaders, Sean? Okay, I want you to think about that first because it's not an easy question. I mean, we talked about a lot of good stuff like how to be a good student, how to be a good boy and girl in the family. There are a lot of things that we talked about as how to be good. But this might be something that you haven't thought of. How to be good leader. How to be good leader. Sean? You can follow God. Okay, that's a very good answer. God is the ultimate leader. So by following God, you can be a good leader too. Very good. Any other answers? How can we be good leaders? So we'll talk about that today. The Bible says, not lording it over those entrusted to you, but being examples to the flock. Okay, so this is the one way Bible tells us to be a good leader. How to be a good leader? You have to put up good example. You have to put up good example. I mean, who has younger sibling? Who has younger brother or sister? Sean, do you? Younger. Do you have younger brother or younger sister? Okay, if you do, you have to be very, very careful. You have to make very good example of yourself. Because your baby brother, your baby sister, without knowing sometimes, try to copy you. That's how people can tell whether you're brothers or sisters in the same family. You might look a little bit different. You might look like your mom and your little sister look like your dad. That happens sometimes, many times in the family. So by just looking, people can tell whether you're related or not, brothers or not. But then by the way they talk, by the way they act, it's pretty simple to tell whether you belong to the same family or not. Because usually the younger ones, younger brother, younger sister, try to copy their older siblings. It's very important that you be good example to the younger people. Now everybody here gets old, right? But I'm only 5 years old. Yeah, but you're going to be 6 next year. You're going to be 16 after 10 years. So everybody gets old. That means as time goes on, you will have more and more followers. So you need to be prepared, no matter what age you are at right now. It is time to be prepared to be a leader by putting in good example. Number one, you have to put in a good example of good words. Okay? Especially when there's some younger kids around, do not use any bad words. for that matter, do not use any negative words. I'm not talking about those really bad words. We're not supposed to use that anyway. But then any negative words you use. Some of you might repeat that without knowing. Oh, it's impossible. You can't do that. No one can do that. This situation is just impossible. I'm so bad and I'm so lonely and I'm a loser. Some people talk like that all the time. That might not be such a bad words, they're using, but it's such negative words. It's equally as bad. So think about what kinds of words you use when you talk to your friends, when you talk to your brother, sister, when you talk to people, what kind of words do you use? Are there more positive words? Are there more negative words? By the words you're using, you're setting up an example to the people around you. And then the example of good deeds. We talk about this all the time at church. But action of deeds is not just talking, is it? We can talk about sharing, and we can talk about caring, and we can talk about helping other people all day long. But unless you actually do it, actually put that into practice, actually share and care and help other people who are in need, it's useless. So when it comes to being a good example, talking isn't good enough. Talking might be a good start, but it's just not good enough. We have to put actions to follow what we say. Good deeds. And Christians must be such good people that we should be willing to care and share and help other people all the time. Even if there's some situations that we have to make sacrifices. You try to help this person and it just takes too much time and sometimes some money too. So that means you have to sacrifice your time and money to help other people. Now there is the pivotal decision moment there. Am I going to sacrifice my time and money to help this person and put up a good example of good deeds? Or am I going to just ignore? Be self-happy, selfish? Is that what I'm going to be? Do you want to be a leader? Then you have to put in the sacrifice of good deeds. It will cost you. If you try to care and share and help other people, it will definitely cost you. It will cost your time and money and some talents, a lot of energy. It will cost you. But only those who can make sacrifices of those contents, then you'll be a leader. One more thing, we have to be a good example of good faith. And this involves in talking and action and a lot of other things. But make sure that other people, your friends and your brothers, sisters, and relatives, all the people surrounding you, let them know that you have solid faith in Jesus Christ. You have solid faith in Jesus Christ. And that is putting up a good example. Putting up a good example. Problem is, there are a lot of people who don't seem like Christians at all. I mean, you should ask your friends. When you go to school or when you go to a party, you should ask your friends, hey, do you know that I'm a Christian? Do you know that I go to church and pray and praise every week? Do you know that I believe in God? Do you know that I believe in Jesus Christ? Maybe you should ask your friends and think about what kind of response they give you. hopefully they say, of course I know. I mean, you didn't tell me, but then, I could tell that you go to church and you're a good Christian. You're always good in helping other people. And, I see that. I know you're a Christian. And that's the way it must be. Without telling them that you are a Christian, they're supposed to know by your words and action. But what if you ask your friends, and when you tell them that you go to church and you're a Christian, they're so shocked. What are you talking about? You're a Christian? You go to church? You read the Bible? I never knew. You don't look like it. You look like a bum. You look like such a secular party goer or something. I mean, you're always so selfish and you're always so mean and you're always so, you're not very good. And now you're telling me you're a Christian? If that's the case, I'm not going to believe in God. I'm not going to go to church. Just by looking at you, if you are an example of Christian, then I'm not going to believe in that faith. Pretty sad, isn't it? Pretty scary, isn't it? So this is what it takes to be a leader in this world. To put up a good example of our words, to put up a good example of our deeds, actions, and then to put up a good example of our good faith. And then we can be truly, truly leaders in this world. People will follow us. People will follow you all the way to the Christ. So this is the ultimate challenge to us this Sunday morning. Are you being a good or bad example? In what you say, in what you do, in your daily living, do you put up a good example or do you put up a bad one? Think about that and take a moment.